Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Ricky Byrd entered the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the guitarist for Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. He joined me this week to discuss the Rock and Roll for Children auction benefiting the Children's Inn at NIH. It was our third time chatting about this annual event, so I cut together a mashup of Byrd's best bits.
Good morning, Jason. How are you this lovely, well, I'm in New York. It's lovely here. I'm sure it's lovely in D.C. as well. I'm just thinking about all the stuff I got to do outside in the backyard.
We've all got really acquainted with our backyards this past year.
No doubt, man.
Anywhere else. You've joined us, a couple times. You're sort of like it's almost like an annual tradition for you to do the Rock and Roll for Children Foundation event. Why do you keep coming back? I mean, why is it such an important cause for you?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Obviously, the main reason is it's a great organization. You know, they raise money on behalf of the Children's Inn at NIH, which is it provides a kind of a home away from home for the children and their families, so the families could stay with the kids as they're undergoing treatment. And I've been lucky enough to go to the Children's Inn and play for some of the kids. I went with Christine Ullman one year, a couple of years ago. But the point being is you got to give back in this world. You can't just take. So it's just a great organization. So there's that side of it, what they do, and it's also an excuse for me to get together with my rock and roll friends and put together this band for the night and just have a good time and see everybody smiling. And we could certainly use a lot of smiles these days, huh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I know last year's concert, I think it was slated for March 2020. Huh?
I know, man. We had a whole cool band. We had special guests, and we were ready to rock, So it was certainly disappointing, understandable, but disappointing. But I know they can't do it this year either. I think we're still sort of on that edge of what's appropriate and what's not at this point. But right, we will be doing it, guaranteed we'll be doing it again next year.
Oh, for sure. And I know that, even though it got canceled last year, it was, I read that you were still able to raise like $50,000 for the Children's Inn, and I believe only one or two ticket holders asked for refunds. So everybody else just donated,
Oh, isn't that sweet? Yeah, I didn't hear that part. That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's a great night, and it's for an amazing cause. And once you go to the Children's Inn and, you hang with the kids a little bit, you just realize that this is something that needs to be done.
Needs to be done, for sure. Well, so this year, obviously, like you said, there's not an actual concert. Hopefully we get back to that next year. But I know this week, and I think maybe next week, this month at least, there's the online auction of a bunch of different items. Have you had a chance to hop on there and see what all they're bidding on this year?
I haven't had a chance yet. I just got the word from John Belinkie that it's up and running. People just need to go to rockandrollforchildren.org, and I think they're on Facebook as well. So from what I heard, there's like a bunch of great trips, there's autographed items, and a bunch of cool swag, as we say in the in the rock and roll business, signed stuff. And everybody's always donating signed guitars, and I know when we do the events when you walk into the lobby, there's always like this amazing setup display with all the signed guitars from all my rock and roll friends out there, and sports people sign footballs and basketballs and this and that, and it's really neat. I've been doing this with these guys and ladies for at least 10 years, like not every single year, but on and off, and it's always a great event. They just do a really great job. And the players are all top notch, and the special guests are all really cool. It's just a great night of rock and roll, and you come out of there floating on a cloud because you've done some good in this world, and that's the whole point while we're here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm on the site right now, and it looks like you can get, a poster signed by Springsteen, a Stevie Van Sant signed guitar, Steve Perry signed guitar, Angus Young signed guitar. There's all kinds of stuff on here. So
excellent.
A couple.
Is there some cool? Do you see some cool sports stuff on there?
Let me see. Yeah, there was a baseball sign from your Yankees losing last night. Just kidding. Just
Hey.
Hey, man, I'm an O's fan down here. You guys have got the best of us for years. I'm still mad at you for Jeffrey Mayer, man.
Oh, God.
Remember him? Robbing up?
Wait a second. My cousin Kevin I still have somewhere the picture. He had a broken arm that day and he was there. I was there. My cousin Kevin, my nephew Jonathan, and myself, we were at the game. And I think I had to leave a little bit early. And I said, you guys hang out. And they ran out was it in left field? No, it was in right field.
I think it was right field, I think.
Yeah. It was like right center kind of.
Yeah.
And who was playing then? Who was going back? I can't remember now.
Tony Tarasco. The O's were in the field.
The O's were in the field, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
It
was Jeter. It was Jeter hit the ball.
Jeter hit it. It might have been his rookie year. Didn't he start in 96? Yeah, I think. Yeah. So by the way, our listeners, the inside baseball, literally baseball. This is the 1996 ALCS we're talking about. Yes. For you Yankee fans, it's a blip in on your road to winning $1 million. For us O's fans, it was like the last time we were ever even that far. That's why it stinks.
But wait a minute. My cousin Kevin, he has a broken arm, and I got to find the picture someplace. And my cousin Jonathan, they were out there, and Jeter hit the ball, and you could see my cousin in the footage, sort of barreling through everybody with like with his cast ball. I mean, he didn't wind up getting the ball, but he's definitely in there, being a Bronx guy. We all grew up in the Bronx.
Wow. So he's actually in there. We look back on YouTube. He's the one with the broken arm.
He's the one, my cousin Kevin.
Wow. But I just remember Mayer reaches over the fence. What is he, 12 years old or whatever, robs the home run. And, I think Mike Messina was pitching a gem for us that day. And then eventually he went over, he went and played with you guys.
And just think, Jeffrey is probably, that was in 96. So he's probably married with kids and he works on Wall Street or something.
Oh, he's a grown man now.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Wow. Well, who knew? That was a fun little detour.
Yeah. You could always get me to talk about baseball.
But yeah, there are some, to answer your question in a long roundabout Jeffrey Mayer way, there are some sports things, that you can bid on. There's like a Yankee luxury suite, tickets. There's a bunch there's an Alex Ovechkin commemorative Stanley Cup thing. There's a bunch of stuff.
It's great. They always collect really cool stuff from people, generous artists around the world, and people should go on there and sort of look for something that they're interested in, because the money just goes to a wonderful cause.
Yeah. Now, speaking of memorabilia, a lot of your memorabilia is enshrined forever when you got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, along with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. How cool is that to know that you're inducted?
Oh, it's not much. No, it's,
no
big deal. I mean, look, I was this little kid, listening to the Stones on my giant headphones as a 13, 14-year-old, and then, like, my stuff's now in the Rock Hall. It's like kind of surreal. And that whole night was surreal, getting to play with McCartney and Joe Walsh and Ringo, of course, and everybody else that was on stage, like Stevie Wonder. But it's great that my first guitar, my first acoustic that my mom brought me home back in, what year was it? I was 9 years old, so 65. That's in there, right? And when I do an event, I do recovery events there, because I'm like this recovery guy. And they always bring me down every time I go there and I put together these like recovery things, they bring my guitar out and put it in a display. And it's been one time I was there and my guitar was in a display with my Les Paul, my I Love Rock and Roll guitar, was in a display with Chuck Berry's shirt, which was pretty, like, I think I got a little weepy actually when I saw that. And they show me my acoustic, I think, is down in the vault, which is unbelievable. They take me to visit the vault, and it's like, Jimi Hendrix's guitar strap. Like, I mean, just the most incredible stuff. But right now, I think that Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, there is an actual display up. They rotate everything. I don't know how often, but so we have something up there now. But it's pretty trippy, man. You go there and you see your stuff up there with, like, It's like there's Sam Cooke's tuxedo, and there's Keith Richards' guitar, and there's our stuff. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, this can't be right.
It's pretty bizarre, bro.
It's awesome that now we can call you Hall of Famer, Ricky Byrd. That's so exciting.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's cool.
It has a nice ring to it.
Yeah. I'd like to talk longer, but I got to go shine up my statue.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I see how it is. Happy shining. Go get your shine box.
Go get your shine box.
You get the reference?
Goodfellas, baby. What? I'm funny? I'm a clown?
I amuse you?
I amuse you?
I had him, Henry. I almost had him.
Yeah, exactly. The kid that grew up in the Bronx. I literally saw the Stones on TV when I was 9 on the Ed Sullivan Show, and that was the moment I knew that I wanted to be a musician. Frankly, they looked like I felt. The girls were screaming, and Ed Sullivan looked horrified, so that kind of sealed the deal for me.
That's the trifecta.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's been a long time, but and never in a million years you would just think you'd wind up in like basically it's like the Baseball Hall of Fame,
Absolutely.
It's like Cooperstown, man.
Joan Jett, she grew up in Rockville, Maryland, right here, went to Wheaton High School.
Right. And believe me, I remember those conversations on the tour bus with her with the Orioles and me with the Yankees.
Basically, you had the same debate that we had now. Yeah, because you know what? She came down here, and it's all coming back to me now. She came and sang the national anthem for Cal Ripken's big, when he broke the streak of Gehrig. So
that's interesting. I remember she loved Jim Palmer. That was her guy.
Well, really quick, before I change the subject on Joan, what made her special as a frontwoman, man? Because almost like we all knew it was special at the time. Like you're saying, your I Love Rock and Roll guitars in there. Everyone, that's like a rock anthem now. But like, I feel like with each passing year too, like her place and your guys as her band, that pioneering place as a badass rocker, female rocker, like that is going to just look even bigger and bigger as time moves on too.
Yeah, I mean, I played with Jet from 81 to like 91, and then I came back into the VH1 special. I think that was in 98. I could be wrong because my time frame is ridiculous. But she was, I mean, mainly for me being somebody that stood next to her, she always left everything on the stage, right? Like we were a badass rock and roll band. No matter who we played with, where we played around the world, we just came out there and we just like, we came out there going 100 miles an hour. And she was the engine. Yeah. And, she just gave it all. She was a great, influence for, guitar players, especially female guitar players that were like, oh, I can't do this. But she did it, and, many followed, after her. Yeah. She's just like a rock and roll icon, when they use that term rock and roll icon, Joan's one of them.
Oh, yeah. Just a force of nature. All y'all together. Force of nature on stage. Tell me the day you first met her.
I was told that she was looking for a guitar player, and once again, it's too long of a story, but I was in a band that started in Boston, moved to New York, called Susan, and we did a record on RCA. And that was my first tour. We did a national tour. I came back. I was kind of hanging with a few different people. I was hanging with John Waite. He just left the band called the Babies. Mm-hmm. Somebody hooked us up. They thought we'd be good together. And I was actually hanging with one of my idols, Steve Marriott from Humble Pie and the Small Faces. And we were, working together a little bit and talking about things. And then I got a call that Joan was looking for a guitar player. And I actually went down and auditioned. I don't know what you called it. We played together, and we hit it off, and we went back in. Part of the I Love Rock and Roll record was already recorded, but the sound of this band sounded so good that we actually redid most of 99% of the stuff. There are a few really cool things left on there by Eric Gamble, who was the guitar player before me, and he's a great producer and a really great guitar player. And but pretty much we did the whole I Love Rock and Roll record over again at Kingdom Sound out in Long Island. And then we hit the road, and I Love Rock and Roll came out. So much of this stuff is happenstance and timing, and
right.
Rock radio was really nothing. I mean, there were a couple of cool things. If I remember correctly, Freeze Frame was on there, McCartney was on there, Michael Jackson was on there. It was just, but real rock and roll was at a standstill. Mm-hmm. And I Love Rock and Roll just fit. It just sounded like nothing else on the radio. So it just clicked. And as we toured the country, in our Winnebago, playing clubs, I Love Rock and Roll started to go up the charts, and we were in the eye of the hurricane, so we didn't really see it. But what we saw was all of a sudden we had a tour bus, and the crowds got bigger, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're going to be opening for ZZ Top or something like that.
Right.
And that's how we knew. And then all of a sudden, we're starting to get these record company reports, and there's these magazines in the industry, and then it was number one, man. 7 weeks.
Did you guys know you had a hit with that record, I Love Rock and Roll? I mean, when you were, obviously you never know. It's like, it's not a science. But did it feel like, man, this is a good record?
Well, look, it's all, like I said, it's a combination of things. I mean, the song was written by my friend Alan Merrill, and he did it in his band, The Arrows. And, they didn't have a mega hit with it. I mean, it took Joan's vibe and voice and the sound of the band to turn it into what it was. And it took the state of the music industry at the time and what was on the radio. I mean, it's all, there's so many variables, man. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, it's true.
Did it sound like a hit? I mean, it sounded like an anthem, but you never know.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of great songs out there that don't become number ones.
That's true.
It's just got it's so simple, and it's such a basic premise, and the chorus is so singable that it just took fire. Just caught fire. I love Joan. I could tell you in the time that I was in the band, we never had one argument. I mean, we got along great. We were great together on stage.
Everyone remembers you as the Blackhearts. That's what you got inducted in. But, you've also played with, God, McCartney, Ringo, Joe Walsh, Brian Wilson, Smokey Robinson, Jimmy Page. I mean, it goes on and on. Elvis Costello, Springsteen, Mavis Staples, everybody.
Well, the thing is that the main people that I actually recorded or played with, Joan, obviously. Then after I left the Blackhearts, I did an album with Roger Daltrey and did a tour with him, like a radio tour and some TV stuff. Then I went out with Ian Hunter, from Mott the Hoople, and we did a tour of Scandinavia and England. I did a couple of weeks with John Waite at one point because we were old friends. And I played with Southside Johnny for, about a year back around 2005. But all of these other, people that are on my biography, my Wikipedia page, it has to do with like these events, that I'm lucky enough to be a part of. Like I always get called to do these cool, charity events, and there's always like an all-star band and then special guests. And some of the people you mentioned, were special guests like, Mavis and Sam Moore from Sam and Dave and Smokey Robinson. So I do 3 songs with this one and 3 songs, I mean, I think I did Tracks of My Tears with Smokey? I can't remember which songs we did.
Wow.
And 3 songs with Brian Wilson. And I mean, like you said, the list goes on and on. And that's mainly because I'm, in that spot where I get called to do these really great events. And, I love doing that. I'll tell you what, I love being in a band, obviously playing with Jet and all the other people I played with was great, but you kind of learn the set and then that's your set, right? You may change a song in the middle of a tour here or something like that, switch it out or another tour. But when you're doing these events, you get like 2 months before you get a list of who's the special guests are. And here's like 12 songs to learn. And it's like all over the place. It's like, it could be a rock and roll song. It could be a soul song. It could be, we played with Sheila E. once we backed, so I think we did a couple of Prince tunes. So it's all over the place musically. So it really keeps you on your toes as a musician. I think of myself as a pretty well-rounded guitar player. You have to learn all these different styles and you play to whoever's the singer, whoever the special guest is. It's not about you, it's about them. So it's just the band is there to make them sound good. So it's pretty cool. I find it really, what's the word I want to use? As a musician, as a guitar player, it's really educational. How's that?
That's the perfect word for it, man.
Yeah.
Not to mention just like all these dream pairings of people.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, like I'm standing behind Smokey Robinson playing guitar. And actually, funny enough, back to the Yankees, Bernie Williams was also in the band that night.
Wait, what? What was he?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he played.
Oh, are you kidding? He's a great guitar player.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And you're a great guitar player.
Well, actually, I have some injuries. I have I got a screw in my hand, and I had my shoulder surgery from playing ball 20 years ago. I was always like, whenever I was off the road, I was always like playing in these like leagues, in New York, just for fun and a couple of injuries. But, my glove is now in the closet.
That is not in the Rock Hall.
No. But Bernie, I've talked to Bernie about this. I think he'd rather play guitar than play baseball anyway. He loved his spot as a Yankee. He just, obviously we love Bernie. But he loves playing guitar, and he went back to school and he does solo shows, but he also plays with all these people. So similar to me, like he gets called to do these cool events. He's great, really nice guy.
I had no idea. You're dropping some baseball memories and knowledge on me today. I love it.
And Paul O'Neill plays the drums.
Are you kidding me? They need to do like a Yankee band, or is this already a thing?
Well, everybody's like old at this point, but David Wells played guitar. He was like a heavy metal guy. I find that one of the perks of being in a rock and roll band is baseball players, not all of them, but love music, and a lot of musicians just adore sports, right? So one of the big perks of being in a famous rock and roll band is I got to like hang out with Don Mattingly and go to Yankee really cool things and just hang out with those guys and Paul. I've had conversations with Paul O'Neill. I'm talking about back in the 90s when they were all the team. Sure. About drums and stuff like that. And I think Paul used to have his drum set downstairs, and he would sort of play to loosen up before the game.
I had no idea about any of this, man.
Either that or I'm making this all up.
I love it. Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams,
yeah.
David Wells. And then, if they put on a show, if you have an encore, then you got to bring out Mariano Rivera to close it out.
Yeah. I don't know if he plays anything, but
yeah, man. Wow. I had no idea.
He could throw high heat.
Yeah, exactly, man. The best at it ever, probably. All right. Well, that's so cool. Well, before we run, I wanted to at least give you a plug too. Didn't you just drop a new album in like April or something?
Yes, April 9th. So I do these loud and proud rock and roll records, but I'm a guy I've been in recovery for almost 34 years, coming up in the fall, 34 years. And I do these, it's a completely long story. That's a separate interview, but I started writing these, recovery based songs. And one of the things I do when we're not in a pandemic is I go around to treatment facilities and high schools and, juvenile detention centers, anywhere I'm called to go. And I do these recovery music groups. And from that, the songs that I play in those groups, I kept getting asked by the people in treatment, like, how can we get this music to take home? Which led to me doing these records. So I did Clean Getaway was the first one. That was in 2017. And I released Sobering Times, April 9th, worldwide. You could get it on Amazon, Apple Music, all the online portals. You can get it in your local record store, whatever is left these days. And signed copies of it you can get at rickybyrd.com. Very simple. RICKYBYRD.com. Signed copies, and I'm giving away a free Clean Getaway t-shirt now for the summer because I have some cool tank tops. And it's we got played quite a bit so far across the country radio wise, and I get a lot of messages from people in recovery that picked up the record. I give them away when I go to the treatment facilities, but I sell them so I could keep doing what I'm doing. I get messages from them that the music and the lyrics have sort of helped them in their recovery, which is amazing as a songwriter and somebody who's in the world of recovery. And, that's what I'm doing right now. So it came out April 9th, and it's a pretty loud rock and roll record. So you don't need to be in recovery to enjoy it. It's just a bunch of cool songs. But if you're in recovery or you're struggling with any kind of addiction, you're going to definitely hear something of yourself in the lyrics. So there you go.
Awesome, man. You're just like, how many good causes can I do? You're like a Renaissance man. You're putting out albums to help with addiction. You're helping with this auction for the children's in. There's nothing you don't do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just like everybody else. I mean, most artists are always giving back and always, are doing all these kind of charity events around the country. Some of them you hear about, some of them you don't. And we're pretty giving lot for the most part, artists of all kinds and sports figures, people with the stuff that those guys do when they're off season or they visit hospitals during the season. We try to give back. And, I just love doing these events. And like I said, I love doing the events because of because of the cause, and the Children's Inn is just a wonderful place. And I could say that because I've been there. And it lets the families stay with the kids while they're getting their treatment. And also the events are amazing. And like I said, it gives me a chance to hang with people I don't get to see much anymore and just play some rock and roll. And I'm always up for that.
Well, keep up the great work. It's awesome. Again, everyone, it's the Rock and Roll for Children Foundation. There is not a concert this year, but you can still do the online auction right now. Head over to rockandrollforchildren.org, and then hopefully we'll see you back out at a live in-person concert again in 2022, man. Hopefully,
I could, unless things go in a different direction. Hopefully they don't. I can guarantee we're going to be doing this in 2022. People should just go to rockandrollforchildren.org and see what's up there for auction. And, get something cool for yourself and help out the organization at the same time.
All right, cool. Well, we'll let you get back to your busy schedule.
My busy schedule? I was just drinking coffee, watching the morning show.
We'll let you get back to, your really complicated coffee sips.
You realize it's only 10:20 in the morning.
Hey, man, I've pounded a few coffees and busted out a couple articles. So yeah, we're all on our own schedules.
Exactly.
All right, man. Well, and good luck to your Yankees, except not.
We're having a hard time. It's an uphill climb right this minute. But you know how baseball is. Every game's another game, right? So stuff changes in a heartbeat and it turns on a dime, as the saying goes.
Yeah, like a Jeffrey Mayer catch. Yeah.
Go look there for my cousin Kevin.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then you go look for my cousin Jake on the Mariners hitting bombs.
Okay, is he on the roster right now?
Yeah, Jake Fraley just hit a grand slam like 2 nights ago.
Excellent, man. That is so cool.
We got to plug our cousins.
You know what you got to do? You got to get him to sign a baseball and send it to the organization.
Oh, you're right. Oh my God, I'm gonna reach out. He's like he would totally do it. I know he would totally do it.
Well, there you go. That's your next phone call, brother.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you later.
I'll see you, man.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.